Often, people will expect that in order to find valuable treasures, a pirate map is a good place to start. Yet, there's another way to discover riches than getting scurvy. Every so often, people will wander through thrift stores, flea markets, and yard sales. They'll spend a small amount on a strange item only to find out later they're sitting on an absolute fortune. Today we're going to look at these incredible instances. We'll examine pricey artifacts, literature history, and other such amazing objects. Ones that generated thousands, if not millions, for the people that discovered them. So let's get started. It's not every day that a person stumbles across a missing piece of history. During the 2000s, an unnamed scrap dealer purchased a golden egg at a U.S. flea market. He paid $14 for it. Within the golden egg, there was a lady's watch with a white enamel dial and openwork diamond set gold hands. He had plans to melt the item down and sell the material for a profit for a few $100s. It's a good thing he didn't. He instead kept the item for a few years. Yet in 2012, he was curious. The man looked online for any information about the prized find. He found an article by The Telegraph that spoke about the origins of his egg. As it turns out, he was the owner of a missing prized Faberge egg from Russia that was made for royalty. It was made by the House of Faberge's head jeweler, August Holmstrom, in either 1886 or 1887. Over the years, it somehow left Moscow and ended up in a random Midwestern market. In 2014, the egg was sold at auction to an undisclosed buyer for an undisclosed amount. However, the estimation of the egg's value was $33 million. In 2008, a school in England was throwing out a load of old tatty books due to an upcoming inspection. Some of these books were books from the Harry Potter franchise, yet a teacher hated seeing books being discarded, so she took them from the skip and held onto them for 12 years. One day, her and her son saw a television program about first edition Harry Potter books being sold for thousands. They immediately investigated their books. One of them was a rare hardback first edition of The Philosopher's Stone. Only 500 of these versions were printed in 1997. They got in touch with a specialist and were given an estimated value of $15,000. In May of 2020, the first edition was sold at auction for $41,000. They also sold their other recovered Harry Potter books. Two paperback first editions of The Philosopher's Stone went for $4,200 and $3,700. First edition copies of Chamber of Secrets and The Prisoner of Azkaban made $444. Altogether giving them nearly $50,000. Not bad for a chance discovery in a skip. One day during 2010, Randy Guijarro was visiting an antique store in California. There was a box of old photos the store was looking to sell quickly. One of the photos particularly caught Guijarro's eye. He recognized one of the people photographed. He bought 3 images for $2. He then took the special photo and examined it closely with a microscope. His suspicions were right. This was one of only 2 photos in existence of the famous outlaw Billy the Kid, otherwise known as Henry McCarty. The image was taken in New Mexico around 1878. Making it the earliest image of Billy. It shows the outlaw and the gang playing croquet. The suspicion is that the gang were attending a wedding. In the image, Billy the Kid is standing in a very similar pose to his famous 1880 portrait. However, Guijarro had to get the image authenticated by professionals. It took 5 long years of knockbacks, but finally in 2015, Guijarro got his answer. It definitely was Billy. Due to the incredible rarity of one of the most infamous people in the West, the photo is worth $5 million. Teri Horton wanted to cheer up her friend in 1992, so she went to a California thrift store and spotted a massive, colorful abstract painting. She found the perfect gift. She paid $5 for it. However, when she arrived at her friend's trailer, it was too big to fit through the door, so Horton took it home. She later tried to sell it at a yard sale, yet an art teacher recognized the style. They suggested it could be a painting by famed abstract expressionist artist Jackson Pollock. However, Horton's painting was lacking a signature from Pollock. After years of research, investigation, and fingerprint analysis, it was confirmed to be Pollock's work. A similar painting from Pollock, number 5, 1948, was sold for $140 million in 2006. In that same year, Horton starred in a documentary about her $5 discovery. She had received offers for the painting for $2 and $9 million, but she turned them down. She wanted $50 million. Sadly, Horton never got to enjoy any riches. In 2019, she passed away. She instructed her son to sell the painting, but not to give it away. During the 1980s in London, an unnamed woman was looking through a car boot sale. She spotted an extravagant ring. Since it was only $12, she bought it. Believing it to be costume jewelry, she thought the massive diamond on the ring was fake. Oh, how wrong she was. One day, decades later, she took the ring into a jeweler as she suspected it was real. After the jeweler suspected the ring, it was sent off for examination. The Gemological Institution of America then took a look at the suspicious stone. It turned out that the diamond was very much real. In fact, it was a 26-carat diamond. It's believed to have been cut in the 19th century, the value of which was estimated to be $432,000. The ring was nicknamed the tenor ring due to the amount, the 10 pounds, the woman paid for it originally. The unnamed woman wore it for decades in her day-to-day life without realizing its true worth. In 2017, the magnificent ring was taken to auction. It was sold for $811,000, nearly double its estimation. The Nintendo Game Boy was first released in 1989. From there, it changed the video game market forever. It was a regular item in all gamers' arsenal throughout the 90s, with games such as Zelda, Tetris, and Pokemon being favorites. The price at the time was around $90. Nearly 119 million units were sold worldwide. Used versions of the console can go for around $30 to $50 today. However, the real price comes with an unopened, sealed box of the Game Boy. They can go for thousands of dollars for the original console, with special edition variations bringing in a much higher value. One person on eBay is currently attempting to sell their special version that has Tetris included for nearly 20 grand. You could find a fortune in your attic. Since you're in your attic, you might be lucky to come across another valuable item. Teri Diebold was looking through a box of objects belonging to former Sony Computer Entertainment CEO Olaf Olofsson. Diebold found a very rare prototype console for the Nintendo PlayStation. He turned down an offer of $1 million, hoping to get more at auction. It was sold at auction in March of 2020 for $360,000. In 2013, an unnamed man was looking for bargains in a thrift shop in Australia. He came across an unusual cup. He spent $3 American on it. Once he got home, he started to do some research on what it was. He got in touch with an antique expert. The cup turned out to be a libation cup made in China during the 17th century. It was made from the horn of a rhinoceros. These cups were used for drinking during important ceremonial occasions. As a result, it's a highly valued item amongst collectors of Chinese antiques. Despite having a large chip, the estimated value of the cup was between 13 to 20 USD. In 2010, a similar cup was sold in the UK after being found in an attic. It had been lying in the attic for 25 years. It was sold at auction for $99,000. Feeling lucky, the Australian man decided to take his cup to auction as well. In the end, it was sold for 75 Australian dollars, which is around 50 American dollars, more than double its estimated value. In 1965, the world saw the release of the newest James Bond film, Thunderball. In it, we see Bond, whilst underwater, use a special watch with a Geiger counter inside it, all to locate the villain's disastrous weapons and save the day. Well, in 2011, an unidentified man was looking through a car boot sale in the UK. He spotted a strapless watch that looked very familiar. He paid $31 for the unusual timepiece. As it turned out, it was the prop used by Sean Connery in Thunderball. It had been missing from Pinewood Studios since the release of Thunderball. Its whereabouts were unknown. Until now, that is. The watch was made in 1962 by the manufacturer Breitling. It's part of their Top Time model of watches. It was then modified by the prop department on Thunderball. It was the only one created for the film, which of course increased its worth. The highest estimation on its value was $74,000. In 2013, it was put up for auction, and it was sold for $123,000, making it a prized possession in a Bond fan's film memorabilia. During 2007, a family in New York were looking through items in a yard sale. They spotted a ceramic bowl and handed over $3 for it. From there, it was displayed in their living room. For a number of years, it lay there undisturbed. However, curiosity got the better of the family. They wanted to know its origins, so they had the item assessed by experts. As it turns out, the bowl wasn't just any old bowl. It was a rare ding bowl from the Song Dynasty period in China, particularly in the northern part of the country, making their living room bowl around 1,000 years old. Original estimates on its value were between $200,000 and $300,000. At the time, items like the ding bowl were incredibly popular amongst Chinese art collectors. In 2013, the ding bowl was put up for auction online. After a battle between 4 bidders, the bowl was finally won by art dealer Giuseppe Eskenazi. He spent an incredible $2.2 million on the 5-inch diameter bowl, turning the New York family into multi-millionaires in an instant. All the way back in 2010, antique bed restorer Ian Coulson found a dismantled bed frame for sale on an online auction. It was listed as 19th century Gothic revival. The bed had been removed by builders from the Redland House Hotel in Chester, England, as the hotel was undergoing renovation. Coulson splashed out $2,700. He had a suspicion that there was more to the frame than meets the eye. After a lot of research and examination, the bed turned out to be very important. It was the bed frame belonging to King Henry VII, also known as Henry Tudor. It's believed that the bed was used by the king and his wife Elizabeth of York between 1486 and 1495. Due to its historical significance, the bed frame is worth an astounding $25 million. The frame has since been displayed at numerous museums. It's not the only time royalty has been found in the strangest of places in the UK. In Leicester in 2012, the skeletal remains of King Richard III were found underneath a car park. He was slain during the War of the Roses. The other side was led by King Henry VII. And that's it. Have you ever found a fortune by accident? Write your story in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. All of those actions really help us out. Finally, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.